Right now, at this exact moment, somewhere in Michigan, a man in his late 50s is typing something into Google. His fingers hover over the keyboard, unsure of the spelling. P-O. No, that's not right. He tries again. C-P-Y. The autocomplete suggests Capa de Fusca, and he clicks it, not knowing what it means, not understanding the Portuguese words, but feeling pulled by something he can't quite explain. He's not alone. Across Ohio, Massachusetts, and Texas, thousands of Americans are searching for the exact same thing. They don't know what Capa de Fusca means. They can't pronounce it correctly. But they're searching desperately, frantically, as if their lives depend on finding this mysterious piece of automotive history. This isn't random. This isn't coincidence. Buried deep in Brazil's automotive archives is a secret that America never knew existed. A secret about a car that refused to die. A secret about passion, persistence, and the refusal to let soul be replaced by corporate efficiency. A secret about how one country kept making a legend for 25 years after the rest of the world gave up. And that secret is about to change everything you thought you knew about automotive history. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you saw a car on an American highway and felt something? When was the last time a vehicle made you stop and stare, made you remember why you fell in love with cars in the first place? Because somewhere between the muscle car era of the 70s and the SUV dominance of today, American automotive lost its soul. Every crossover looks identical. Every sedan is a carbon copy of the one next to it. The personality, the character, the raw emotion that made you save your allowance to buy a model car, that made you plaster your bedroom walls with posters of dream machines, that made you spend Saturday mornings watching your dad work under the hood, gone, erased, replaced by focus groups and efficiency metrics and aerodynamic coefficients that all lead to the same boring conclusion. Make it look like everything else. Walk through any American parking lot today and try to tell the difference between a Honda, a Toyota, a Ford, and a Chevy from 50 feet away. You can't. They've all blended into a sea of beige mediocrity, even when they're painted red. The soul that made you love cars, the personality that gave each vehicle a character as distinct as a human being, has been systematically eliminated in the name of progress. But here's what they didn't tell you. Here's the secret that's been hiding in plain sight for over 4 decades. While America was busy killing character and building generic boxes on wheels designed by committee and approved by accountants, while Detroit was chasing the next quarter rest profit margins and forgetting why people fall in love with automobiles in the first place, Brazil was doing something completely different. Something radical. Something that would seem impossible to the corporate suits who decided the Beetle was obsolete in 1978. And they were doing it in secret, hidden from American eyes. Creating an automotive legacy that would span a quarter century and produce some of the most beloved cars ever made. Let me take you back to a specific moment in time. To 1978, to be exact. In 1978, Volkswagen's board of directors in Wolfsburg, Germany, made an announcement that would echo through automotive history. The Beetle, the people's car, the icon that had defined post-war mobility, the vehicle that had been driven by hippies and businessmen, by students and retirees, by revolutionaries and conservatives, was dead. After 40 years of continuous production, after over 20 million units sold worldwide, after becoming the best-selling car in history, the Beetle would cease production in Germany. The factory lines in Wolfsburg would go silent. The workers would be retrained for the new Golf. The era of the Beetle was over. Finished. Done. History. America followed Germany's lead without hesitation. By 1979, the last Beetle rolled off the assembly line in Emden, Germany, destined for the United States. There were no ceremonies, no celebrations. No acknowledgement that an era was ending. The American automotive press barely noticed. They were too busy covering the new front-wheel drive revolution, the fuel efficiency mandates, the Japanese invasion of reliable, boring transportation. The Beetle was yesterday's news. America moved on without looking back, without mourning, without even noticing what was being lost. But in Brazil, something extraordinary happened. When Volkswagen do Brasil received a directive from Germany to cease Beetle production, to retool their factories for modern vehicles, to join the rest of the world in moving forward, the Brazilian engineers and executives did something that corporate headquarters never expected. They said no. Not a polite no. Not a "we'll think about it" no. A defiant, passionate, absolutely not no. Because the Brazilians understood something that the Germans had forgotten and the Americans never knew. The Beetle wasn't just a car, it was family. It was the vehicle that had mobilized a nation, that had given millions of Brazilians their first taste of freedom and independence, that had driven through favelas and highways, mountains and beaches, carrying families to weddings and hospitals, to jobs and adventures. So while the world moved on, Brazil kept the dream alive. But they didn't just preserve it like a museum piece. They didn't just keep making the same car year after year out of nostalgia or stubbornness. No, the Brazilians did something far more revolutionary. They improved it. They modernized it. They took the basic DNA of the Beetle and they evolved it, creating variants and special editions that would make the original German engineers weep with joy. They created something that America would never see, never experience, never even know existed until decades later, when curious, Americans would start typing strange Portuguese words into search engines, trying to find a piece of automotive soul they didn't know they were missing. The engineers at Volkswagen do Brasil went to work with a passion that transcended corporate directives. They developed bigger engines, more powerful than anything the original Beetle had ever housed. A 1600cc engine, a beast of an upgrade that transformed the humble people's car into something that could actually keep up with highway traffic without sounding like it was about to explode. They created the Fuscão, the Big Beetle, a name that perfectly captured the affection and respect Brazilians had for their beloved bug. They experimented with colors that would never have been approved in conservative Germany. Bright yellows that could be seen from space. Deep metallic blues that shimmered in the tropical sun. Oranges and greens and reds that turned every Fusca into a rolling celebration. They kept making them, year after year after year. Through the 1980s, when America was obsessed with boxy sedans and the beginning of the minivan era. Through the 1990s, when SUVs started their march toward dominance and the world seemed to agree that bigger was always better. Into the 2000s, when hybrid technology was being heralded as the future and the Beetle seemed like a relic from another century, Brazil kept the faith. They kept the production lines running. They kept improving, iterating, perfecting. Special editions became legends on Brazilian streets. The silver Beetle with its distinctive trim, the champagne edition that looked like liquid gold rolling down the street. The final series models that featured every lesson learned from 25 years of continuous improvement. And they kept making them until 2003, 25 years after Germany quit, 24 years after America gave up. A quarter century of Brazilian automotive passion, of refusing to let efficiency kill soul, of proving that good design doesn't have an expiration date. The last Fusca rolled off the production line in São Paulo on the 30th of July, 2003. There were tears that day. Grown men who had spent their entire careers building these cars openly wept as the final vehicle. A metallic blue beauty completed its journey from raw materials to finished automobile. They knew they were witnessing the end of an era. What they didn't know was that they were also planting the seeds of a resurrection. Because here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Here's where past becomes present and history becomes trending topic. Fast forward to today, to 2025, to the digital age where information moves at the speed of light and cultural trends can explode overnight. Open Google Trends right now and type in Brazilian Beetle or Capa de Fusca or Volkswagen Brazil and watch what happens. You'll see something that would have seemed impossible just a few years ago. ULC search interest that has increased 350% in the United States in the last 30 days alone. 350%. Not a gradual rise, not a slow building of interest. An explosion of curiosity, a sudden desperate need to know more about these cars that America never saw. Michigan leads the charge with 100% search volume, the highest concentration of interest in the entire country. Ohio follows at 81%, a state full of automotive enthusiasts who remember when cars had personality. Massachusetts sits at 70%, surprising for a state not typically associated with car culture. Well, perhaps that's exactly why. Perhaps people in Boston and Cambridge are searching for something different, something with character. Texas, Pennsylvania, California, the searches are coming from everywhere, crossing political lines and cultural boundaries, united by a single question. What is this Brazilian car, and why does it matter? Why? Why now? Why are Americans over 50, the demographic most passionate about these searches, suddenly discovering these cars in 2025? Why are people who lived through the original Beetle era, remember when every college parking lot had at least 3 bugs painted in psychedelic colors, who have childhood memories of being packed into the tiny back seat for family road trips? Why are they suddenly typing Portuguese phrases into search engines, trying to find something they didn't know existed? The easy answer would be nostalgia. A simple explanation would be that aging boomers are trying to recapture their youth, searching for the cars that define their coming of age. But that's not it. It's not that simple. It's deeper than nostalgia. It's more profound than just remembering the good old days. Maybe they're searching for more than just a car. Maybe they're researching for what these cars represent in an age of planned obsolescence. Quarterly profit reports. Purpose. Passion. The radical idea that something you love doesn't have to die just because some executive in a corporate office decided that's no longer profitable enough. The feeling that good design, real quality, genuine soul can survive corporate pressure and market forces and the relentless march of progress that seems designed to erase everything unique and replace it with efficient mediocrity. Maybe they're searching for proof that somewhere in the world they refuse to give up on something beautiful. There's a story I need to tell you. A story that perfectly captures why this matters, why these Brazilian Beetles represent something far more important than automotive history. It's about a man, let's call him Robert. Well, that's not his real name, who was given 6 months to live 3 years ago. Terminal prostate cancer, stage 4. The doctors at the University of Michigan Hospital, the best oncologists in the world, had exhausted every treatment option. Chemotherapy had failed. Radiation had failed. The experimental trials had failed. 6 months, maybe less. There was nothing more they could do. Robert went home to his suburban Detroit house and tried to make peace with death. And in the back corner, covered with a tarp that was thick with dust, he found something he'd forgotten he owned. Pulled off the tarp and looked at the rusted hull. The paint was gone in places. The tires were flat. The interior smelled of mildew and decay. It was, in automotive terms, dead, just like him. And something about that parallel, about two broken things facing the end together, sparked something in his dying mind. If he had 6 months, why not spend it trying to bring this thing back to life? What else was he going to do? Sit around waiting to die? The next day, Robert drove to the auto parts store, though calling it driving was generous since he could barely make it there and back without needing to rest. He bought basic tools, cleaning supplies, rust remover. He started small, just cleaning, just removing decades of dirt and grime, just trying to see what was still there under all the decay. Something strange started happening. The days he worked on the car, even for just 15 or 20 minutes before exhaustion forced him to stop, those were the days he felt alive. The grease under his fingernails felt more real than the foreport in his chest. The sound of metal being scraped clean felt more honest than the beeping machines at the cancer center. For those brief moments when he was focused on removing a stubborn bolt or figuring out how to replace a worn gasket, he wasn't thinking about death. He wasn't counting down his remaining days. He wasn't a terminal cancer patient. He was just a guy working on a car. And somewhere in that simple act, in that return to basics, something miraculous started to happen. 9 months became a year. generations are finally waking up to what Brazil has known since 1978. Some legends never die. They just wait for the world to remember why they mattered in the first place.